Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time of day you're viewing this. I am Big Bad Chad, and here is another Age of Empires 2 replay. This is me branching out from playing the computer, which precisely 2 people said wasn't exactly a challenge. Even though I disagree with that, it was quite a challenge. I'm not as good as the video made me look. But because the computer can only play in a certain way, it's easier to play against it. So I understand that. This is me versus a real live human on the internet somewhere else, who I don't know. Because as yet we haven't managed to get any large multiplayer games in. Yeah, so it's just random map, 1v1, rated game. I've picked Saracens after finding out the map was Arabia. And they are playing... So look, it's real name and everything. Smee 3-1 are playing Britons. So I'm aware of longbows, late game. Not so sure. Why did I pick Saracens? I wanted to get early raids in, and I think their crossbows are, well, their bows are okay at that, but their crossbows are certainly quite good, especially with upgrades because of their faction passives. If we have a look, not only do they get foot archers get +1 attack versus buildings, but you get +1 attack versus buildings per age starting in feudal. That's important because you can't build archers in the Dark Age, so I don't know why they put that in there, but it's there. Hey ho. Yeah, so those are the things I'm mainly looking at. The market being cheaper is nice. I forgot about it entirely. Market trade costing 5% I did not forget about, and I use that liberally. Transport ships, utterly unimportant on Arabia. Arabia being the map type, which is supposedly sparse forestry, fair resources, sort of open, little to no water. So transport ships, utterly not relevant, but I do like the fact that Saracens have those benefits. The early, it's not 2 times carry capacity, it's just +5, it's 2 times base, but the early 10-person carry capacity is actually quite important for surprise attacks. And again, the galleys attacking 20% faster aren't important. Mamluks, I really like them. They're a high damage, very accurate, ranged melee attack unit on a camel. Makes them very good against a variety of things. Madrasa, I did not research because I'm not a great monk player. I basically only use monks for grabbing relics and the occasional heal block and sometimes a conversion, but don't bet money on seeing that in any game with me because I'm not that good. And then zealotry camel units +30 hit points. That's important because if we have a look over here, you get heavy camel riders and they go up to having 150 hit points, but what you don't get is any of the classic heavy cavalry upgrades. So you kind of have these instead, which makes them almost as tough as a paladin with lots worse armor and attack. It makes them better able to stand up to paladins, basically. But I always hope to win before paladins come into play. Let me just show off the Mameluke. Here they are. That's 8 attack. They've got a range of 3, but it's a melee attack, which means it gets around a lot of high pierce armor things, so it's good against a variety of units. Melee units tend to have melee armor, and ranged units tend to have pierce armor, so this is a ranged melee unit that's quite good at taking out those ranged units, and it's got quite a high attack. When you upgrade it, gets up a little bit more, which means you can deal with spearmen quite nicely if your micro's good. My micro's passable. I don't know if they benefit from thumb ring, but I usually research it. So that's my benefits. Let's go and have a look at Smee 31. Now I do like the Britons. Starting with a team bonus, archery rangers work 20% faster. I love it. I love archers. In any game that Midge commentates on here, he will verify that. I do indeed love my archers, especially early. Other advantages he's got: town centres cost 50% less wood in the Castle Age. Nice for spamming them out and booming your economy. Foot archers have just passive longer range. It's really nice. It's a nice all-round bonus for sure, because you get a couple of shots in a little bit earlier, especially because you're producing more archers. But the other important thing is that it can help you outrange defensive buildings. So if they're not getting archer upgrades because they like going cavalry or whatever, then you can outrange their defensive upgrade. So it's a sort of soft offensive buff, except you're still shooting at buildings with archers. So that's not great unless you're the Saracens, as we just saw. And shepherds work 25% faster. That is important early on. It's a nice boost to your economy. It helps you get into the later ages early. Or earlier. So yeomen, yet more foot archer range and tower attack. That's a very nice upgrade, both defensively and offensively. Combos nicely with the passives. And they get the full archery upgrades at the blacksmith, so they get some ridiculous range of their longbowmen, like 13. The longbowman is probably the longest range non-siege unit in the game and can outrange most, not all. I think there's one castle. I think other British castles can shoot them, but most other castles, nearly every other castle, they outrange, so you can still just buy archers if you want, and in large enough blocks they can slowly wear down buildings. And then there's Warwolf, or Varwolf. Trebuchets do blast damage. This is great if you want to clear trees with them or hit units. I'm not good enough to do that, and if I want to clear trees I'll use onagers. But it's there, it's a thing. When I play Britons I'm really glad it's the Castle Age, the Imperial Age upgrade, because then you can get yeomen earlier and it's cheaper for Castle Age technologies. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the game, shall we? So, start off, got my cows, get my scout going, build a house. Pretty standard start, not the best, not the worst. Yeah, so just doing that to begin with. I'll queue up villagers. The start of any game is it's me wishing them well. I don't know how good they are. They're meant to be as good as me, which means the game should be challenging. It's only my third online game. My first game, I learnt about banning maps by not banning any and being like, oh, I'll be alright on all of them, and then immediately being thrown into Nomad, where you start askew with extra resources, but no town centre, so you have to build everything, and I did not do very well, and I lost. He's gone early into wood here, whereas I have not. I'm focusing on food first of all, which is a new tactic for me, and I believe it's better. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, if I've got an idle peasant, doesn't particularly help too much. I am going into wood now, but I didn't put any of my starting peasants on it. There we go, I finally activate him. So he's in more or less the same place, but I think my food economy is slightly better, or I had slightly more. That's going to be what I'm going to claim. So in my second game, I randomed into Goths against another guy who was playing as the Huns. The Huns have a very nice, unique unit, as do the Goths, but the Huns one is a cavalry unit that's fast and does extra damage to buildings. I love them. They also don't have to build houses, so they can churn out units without having to worry about that. It was a close game. I think I still have the replay somewhere, so I might be able to find it. It was my first game as Goths, though, and all I knew was that they could churn out infantry quite well. And I wanted to get the ability to get Huskarls from my barracks, so I was looking at doing a fast castle age rush, and it was a bit tight, bit dicey. He got into my base. We were playing arena. Yeah, we were playing arena. So he started out, nice little Borlaw there, just gets into the... I'm so bad at the moment for losing villagers to Borlaws, but that one's saved, so whoop-de-doo. No loom either, because, yeah, I'm bad. Anyway, so hopefully I'll upload that other replay. The Nomad one I literally just get schooled on. It's not interesting to watch at all. Well, it might be. I might, if people want to, I'll upload it, but I'll upload the more interesting ones where I actually have a tactic going on first. So back to this game, still getting my food, not entirely sure where he's going. Building a mill out here, nicely placed next to berries, next to the deer. So that's quite good. Equally, Smee's placed his, Smee has placed his mill next to the deer and the berries, a nice placement. A little bit of idle time from him. Borlaw coming in, hence the idle time here, because this is... Yeah, just putting that peasant to work, confident that he's got his Borlaw down. He knows what he's doing, which is a shame, because, well, it's not. Like, a challenging game is a better game, but I'd like to be in a good position to start off with. I was just checking what those grey things on the maps were, over the cliff edges. 6 minutes in, nothing too outrageous. Let me get the scores up. There you go. He's slightly ahead on points, but not by a amount. I just lost points for being housed. That's interesting. I didn't know that could happen. Let's swap this round. So villager count, he's just one behind me, but I've got 4 idle currently, so 5 idle as my boar runs out. We're actually dragging that boar down. This guy's building my little house wall, something that I started doing when I didn't really understand that palisade walls were very cheap. Oh, another villager just escapes with his life. Not a great ball law there. Could have been closer to the TC, but hey-ho. Little mistakes happen, right? So a bit of scouting. What can I see at the moment? I found his base up there, I know that. And for the first time, and I mean this, in my online career of this game, this is game 3, so I'm going to say it's not bad, but the first time I start tactically scouting his base. So if you watch the minimap, you will see my scout running up and down and around Smee's base a few times, just so I keep refreshing sight, so I can keep seeing what he's building, seeing what he's doing there. So I'm now getting loom to save food, but still use my TC. My scout running around here. Originally I spotted like these houses, so I've now seen his town centre. This is where I take manual control of the house. There we go, I can see it. I believe the scout's on no attack mode, something I like doing so that if I leave him in a base he doesn't attract attention to himself by slapping things. I check the gold, I see that peasant. I probably could have gone and slapped that peasant a bit. Does he have loom yet? No, I could have gone and slapped that peasant a bit. He's built an early barracks, probably in response to my scout coming back to his base. I've scouted. I've got these. I mean, I never kill them. They're used as arbitrary scouts and early warning systems. Because, you know, efficiency is my best tactic. I'm already going into the feudal age, which is nice. It puts me there first. It's always a worry. I've scouted this stone now. So I go back here. Don't see the barracks. Although everybody's got to build a barracks at some stage. I check what he's doing up here. Just have a look around. Back at base, I've built out this wall here. I've got a barracks, which I don't think gets used all game. I haven't really done a great job of scouting my own entrances. Like, it's a small map, but I've got these 3. This was such a touch. Like, big gold here, small second gold, and a third small gold. So, like, this is ripe for a town centre nearby, just to defend it from raids and things. And it's my gold production. Like, and if he does raid me early, and I desperately need to, because it's a bit far from this town centre, I can put a tower up with starting stone. Such a nice location. And again, the stone is close together. I always like that. As you can see, I've placed this fairly equidistant to save time and idling and micro later on. Having scouted his entire base, I've moved on. He again has a nice big patch of gold there, which will probably do him all game. I've hit feudal age, he's almost hit feudal age now. But me getting there first makes me feel a little bit better, especially about doing my #1 favourite tactic in this game, because it's the only tactic I can get to reliably work, and the Saracens are very good at it. These are a pair of archery rangers, and they're going to be producing archers as soon as they can. So he's overtaken me, he's leapfrogged me on villagers now. So he's on 21, I'm on 18. But that might be because, well, I've got no excuse really, because we're both in the feudal age now. Some idle time there, looking at the sheep. Can't zoom in any further, that's frustrating. Can't get a good look at that sheep. He gets spared for a while. And there's his friend who just gets in. It's my scout. No, he's on no attack, but Smee's made these 2, they used to be called clubmen in Age of Empires, militia. 2 militia to try to deal with him. They're not going to catch my scout, but at this point I've just waypointed around his base, so I can keep refreshing. You know, I can see this blacksmith, he's finally working on his gold. It's a bit extended from the town centre, so it might be vulnerable. This wood line is a little extended, just house myself again. It's fine, all the best players in the world. Then my waypoints run out, and my scout decides this is what his job is. Does he take it down? Place your bets. They're not good odds. At the same time, I managed to fence the scout out of my base, just about. My scout gets quite a long time slapping this, almost 100 hit points. And then I get a I'm being attacked notification. I don't respond very quickly, and my scout dies. So I'm down a scout. But I'm pretty tragic with my scouts anyway. I considered this a success because I managed to look after his base so well for so long. He's not built any defences. He might have spotted the archery ranges. I think they were under construction when the scout was there, but he might have clicked on them to find out what they were. Or it could have been an auto scout. It's probably not. That's a second archery range. So he is building, I think, to respond to me. Which is a shame. He's getting loom now. Oh god, don't look at that handcart. That's not meant to be researched till the Castle Age. At least that's what I think. I don't know. I'd say don't research it till Castle Age because then you can have other town centres producing peasants. So at the moment I'm not producing peasants, which is a shame. You can see me immediately queuing up some archers. Getting out my early Saracen bonus. Over here I've got fletching on the way, so I'm going to be pretty kitted out to do some, raiding. I was going to say damage, we'll see how well it goes. Small number of people on gold for an archer rush as Saracens, but you also notice I tactically haven't built my market because I forgot that it's 100 wood. And I'm going to say tactically, it's not tactical, it's a mistake. He's going straight to Castle Age. Woo, what a fast castle. But up here I've already got a bunch of peasants hitting his economy. So I can't see where his militia are, but I'm pretty happy just raiding people. They don't have great amounts of damage at the moment, these archers. It's like 5.
Nom?
Yeah, 5. But it's at range, and that's important. I take some of his economy down. Don't know if he rang the bell there or not, but I quite happily and easily take those guys out. But I haven't seen those archery ranges, so let's not forget that. And then what I do is I leave. So he's getting fletching as well. So I leave and I go a different way because I know he's pulled his peasants back and I don't want to just leave my archers there. I have more archers. I believe these, yeah, they have a waypoint set up here now. I've got another set of 4 archers, which is quite good for raiding. I've got a couple of peasants there, a couple of villagers, snipe them. He's still got more than me, even with that, so never mind. Yeah, so I'm sending them. I send these archers round here because I know about this wood line, and attack your opponent where they aren't. So if he thinks I'm going to keep attacking down here, more fool him. However, these guys are going to come up as well. Yeah, look at that, caught them on the turn, so they can pretend to be the original 4 archers, and I can try to split his attention. Control groups are really important here, and so is the stand ground stance, so you can just leave them in an area and it will be fine. So I focus on the scout because I think he's going to attack me, but he's just passing. But at the same time these guys are under attack, I'm over here hitting his other economy. And what I do is I actually rotate my targets so that the peasants come back to work because his attention is split at the moment. And I've killed all of these peasants, well, some of these peasants, and they've moved on. So these guys go to check that stone. Whereas over here, these guys are still wrecking the economy. Just disrupting, just causing problems. Now he's actually built a skirmisher, but 1 skirmisher on its own, even with that 3 pierce armour, isn't too much of a threat, so I take him out, because I can. I'd leave them there to micro these guys. I know he's building skirmishers now, which is the correct thing to do, so I pull out. Archers out. And you can see them going back around the wings, using this dead space at the back of his base as a rally point. No archers queued at the moment, nothing queued at the moment. I'm not even saving to go... Oh, there we go, I am saving to go to Castle Age, so keeping my wood. But while those 2 small groups of 4 archers were quite efficient at raiding, they're not going to be great if they get counter-attacked, so I bring them together. The other advantage for me going to Castle Age is that I get an additional +1 attack on my archers against buildings, which is great for this group that's already raided there. I can get thumb ring, and I hopefully do, and I can get arbalests, which I believe, well, not arbalests, sorry, crossbowmen, which I'm pretty sure I do, but we'll see. Building more archers now. Look, I come around here and find these peasants. Oh, I wonder where they're going. Probably to build that stone. And then they do build something. I'm like, that's a bit big. Is that a castle? It's a town centre, boys. And he doesn't delete it. I kill him. So he loses all of the resources. That was such a lucky grab by me. A couple of archer reinforcements there. I think the scout actually spots them. So again, I send these round. I've got 2 more villagers sniped. I've now taken their lead on villagers, finally. Yeah, using my attack damage bonus against buildings here. Why am I shooting a farm, you say? I'm not going to take down an important building with 8 archers. What I can do is take down a farm that costs 60 wood from someone who's had their wood already hit quite hard. So the skirmishers turn up, the 3 of them are just like, fudge this! Then they go and stand on a hill. And hill damage bonuses are important. Managed to maintain it. So in advance, while he's got the higher pierce armour, I've got numbers, and I've got the hill, so I quite easily take that fight. There you go, thumb ring and crossbow queued, and he's got a 3rd archery range now. Yeah, he's got a 3rd archery range, and they're all queuing skirmishers. So this archery can only go on for so long, really. I haven't been able to get close to his town centre. I know I'm not going to be able to maintain this level of aggression with archers for very long. But now they're crossbowmen. What does that mean? Well, I mean, very little, sadly. I put them in loose formation just in case that helps them survive. And then I go in this way. I think this is where I scout, finally, his archery rangers. Because I suspect he's got 2 at this point. Building infantry arm. Oh no, he is. Oh, I get the jump on them there, which is nice. And then I take the fight because I think my numbers can swing it. I've got upgrades. I've got no armour upgrades, but I've got damage upgrades, and they carry me through, along with the faster firing rate of crossbowmen. So crossbowmen fire 3 times in the time that, or the archer line fires 3 times in the time it takes skirmishers to fire twice. So you can get a good bit of damage output there. I'm still getting reinforcements. I'm taking fights and I'm winning them, so this is all going well at this stage. Back at base, I've broken my wall there, although I've replaced part of it with a town centre, which is a nice defensive thing, especially because this one's quite close. Over here, I've finally built my market as a nice bit of wall. I don't think it actually works. I think you could run through there, but yeah, we'll see how that works out later on. I know I didn't notice that at the time. So my archers are looping around. I think, yeah, I spot him and I decided to take out his scout. Just, you know, it's points and it restricts his sight and stuff. Bit of an assassination. Building a 3rd town centre now. Not enough stone for a castle. But I'm also not building a temple or monastery, which I normally do. Just to grab relics early on. So I come here and check the stone and like, oh, more 3 villager kills. And then the end is nigh as this line of skirmishers comes down from the hill. So they've got about equal numbers. And what I actually do there is pause, thinking I send these 2 weak ones off to try to pull away some of the numbers. I might have been able to take that fight, you know, with the extra range, because I don't think he's got damage upgrades. No, I didn't. What I instead do is decide to assassinate his wood line. Sacrificing my brave archers so that they can do this. Like, that's 4 villagers, 5 villagers, 6 villagers. And aren't military units worth more than villagers? No, because villagers get you resources. So, and now at this stage, they've done their job, they've been brave. They get to go into that great darkness of the afterlife. There are more archers on the way. But there's also a nice little forward peasant and whatever this is here. Oh, some sheep. Just to deny him the sheep, really. And that's a crossbowman, not a peasant, pardon me. So there are more crossbowmen, but I've lost the initiative there. And we can see that he's now building archers. And he's already got a lot of skirmishers, so I have to change up my tactics somewhat. So what do I build? A couple of stables. That's not bad, right? So what I've done is, and oh, they're gone. We'll get to that in a moment. 3rd town centre up, near the gold, like I said earlier. Very nice defensive. Pretty nice little web here of town centres, so we can't really threaten a resource thing that reliably. Like maybe down this edge you could put some archers or something and be safe, but it's not massive glaring weaknesses there within my my little town with my house wall. Constantly running out of wood, screaming at myself for not being able to manage my resources, but I have taken the lead now. I have a convincing villager lead of 13. And he thinks, oh, those archers did well against me, I'm going to send some archers over. We're in the castle age now, so basic archers, even with their upgrades, aren't quite as good. And I just respond by... I don't ring the bell, I just shove them in there. And he has to leave. It takes me a while to... Oh, no. Oh, he doesn't leave. He does. He moves around. So, eventually... I should just send them back to work now. As soon as I saw, like, they disappeared out around there. Yeah, so I've just spotted them there, and I think, oh, it's safe to put them back in. It's not, he decides, oh, because I don't think he'd scouted that before as a wall. But yeah, so... I've forced him to go into skirmishes, and now I know he's building archers. And, like, the Britons want to do that anyway, because their archers get better. Ah, look at this, I've relocated my wood line, even at a time when I shouldn't. Because I don't have any wood stocked up, but it just makes things a bit easier. And now he's harassing my dudes over the wall, not bad play. He probably gets that villager, because I'm busy doing something else. Oh, I'm over here at the time. Am I? No. Yeah, so I lose a few vills here, that's not great. They just walked through my town centre! Wow! Lessons learned, cannot wall with a town centre. So I forced him into archers, he's using them, he's building them as his mainstay at the moment. Well, that's what it looks like, and Britons want to do that anyway, so I'm okay with that. He's still got those 3 archery ranges, they're not doing anything at the moment, but he's having to rebuild, he's still got them there. And now his archers have walked into my base, but I built 1 skirmisher, and because they're not paying attention, he's trying to raid me, which didn't work particularly well, because there's only 3 of them. That skirmisher gets away with killing them all and cleaning that up. So yeah, I forced him into archers, and they want to do that anyway, so he's probably thinking, and this was legitimately part of my strategy, he's probably thinking, I don't care about having to go archers, I can do that anyway. I just have to get a castle up, which is going to be harder since I hit his stone. And he's only got he's been hit hard for peasants, villagers. So the natural enemy of the archer is the knight, which is what I build now. And I move my stables up here because forward offense is always strong. There's a little scouting force. These were defensive, but I decided to send them in anyway just to see what I can do, nettle him a bit. If I'm already ahead, there's no point in staying. No, sorry, you better stay ahead, right? You've got to keep yourself ahead. So they go around the long way. I'm going to say they should be scouting that. They're not. They're going around the long way, so it looks to draw attention away from this little fortress. These sheep go in as a little scout just to see if there's anyone there. There is, so I lose the sheep. Over here. Now, I had a house here and I destroyed it so I could get my preacher out, but they were just here in time to kill my preacher, as you can see from his swiftly decaying corpse. And they walk into my base. Because I don't get an attack notification, I don't immediately do this, but once I see them, like, I leave the wood ones out because they're not under threat with the gold dudes in there. And over here he's just got sheep as well. So again, they're like moving around a bit merrily. All off my gold. I lose those peasants because I'm bad. These guys looking to move down. I've got a fairly hefty points lead at the moment. It's 32 to 26 villagers. He does have crossbowmen in my base. But I have an abundance of stone. It's not quite castle amounts, but you know what? This is the whole of my defence. So if I can cover it up, and that leaves them in like this very bad position to do something around here. So he takes shots at my peasants, but there's not quite enough to really like nuke them down, like I was before when I had 10 or 12. So these guys stand behind here. They're just out of range of the peasants though. That's bad. I thought they were in. And then I came back here to sort that out, so I thought they'd annoy people up until then. Shove some peasants in the tower. Got a tower here as well from earlier. And it just means that I don't really have anywhere that's safe to raid in this area. Like, I need to work on this, like maybe a tower here. And it would have meant that against archer raids especially, there wasn't much they could do. So these guys are still sitting here, lying in wait like a trap, except they've shot someone. So he's switching these peasants out for these guys. What he should really do is relocate that wood line. I mean, he was going to build a town centre there, wasn't he? But he's not gone back and done that. He's got the resources for it, but I think he's saving for a castle. I'm still not paying attention, so I think I lose most of these crossbowmen. Yeah, I just take the fight. I don't think I have longer range either. No, because I haven't got all the upgrades. I do get on the hill. I hope I stay there. Nope. Yep. Yeah, but I don't take the fight properly, so he can pick them off at his leisure with the extra range, which is a shame. I feel bad about that fight. Sorry, crossbowman. Get slaughtered. I kill a few.
Yay.
Because he hasn't upgraded skirmisher armour. But it's not great. And they don't benefit from thumb ring. But I'm building knights, still. It's taken me a while to stabilise my economy. And I remember that from the game. Like, I just kept running out of gold. Partly it was because he came in here and killed half my gold miners. So I started building my peasants up again. We're now 34 to 26. So it was 32 to 24 a while ago. Neither of us are particularly recovered on that. I lost a couple, he lost a couple. Goes round, comes around. Build a university as well, because secretly I still want to build. I'm stuck though, because I've been trying out horse archers. And so I have a very specific build order, which includes thumb ring and it includes ballistics. And then I feel like I'm ready. So I've built this university here to get ballistics, even though I'm going knights. That's a mistake. And that's caused by over-familiarity with a separate build path. Which I suppose isn't bad. Oh, yeah, what's happening down there? So these archers... He's just built some archers to try to raid me again. I take a few people off food. I don't have huge amounts of villagers. I've put all of those people who were on wood, most of the wood, back to stone. And now I've got a lot of stone. These archers aren't going to get anywhere. Like, they're just going to die. They've killed a couple of peasants, maybe, one or two. And I'm just building more peasants up. I feel so bad that you can just... I thought he was just walking through this gap, but... Can't wall with town centres. Lessons learned. Yeah, and now he starts shooting my blacksmith and I let that happen. Because it's 2 damage a time. I do start researching forging though, which is relevant for my knights. You're up here. And now I'm doing a slightly different tactic from hitting his resources rather. Oh, I'm not. Well, so I did consider taking these out. I think I'll do it later then. So I do consider taking out these because that means he has to rebuild them and it delays his ability to harvest the resources basically. I don't check this out, but we know he's got a town centre there now, so that was a good build from him. And my knights sort of like loop round. They're looking for peasants and I just can't find any because he has relocated his wood line here and I'm just not used to it. So I just start killing his stone miners. Look at this amount of stone I've got. That's because I had 12 people on it. That's ridiculous. I take the fight with skirmishers. I slaughter them. There's not much they can do about it. They are uniquely ill-equipped to deal with knights. So I've got 3 pierce armour, I've got bloodlines, I've got an attack upgrade. Not all attack upgrades, but... Yeah, so they're here. And then this is it. So I decide to hit his resource building, so he can't harvest those more valuable resources so reliably. I've also got another bunch of knights being prepared, so I can attack from a separate angle. This gives him time to respond, and he does build spearmen, but he's only got the 1 barracks. So, yeah, he builds them in. So this is a nice trick you can do. If you set the rally point for a building on itself, it will garrison those units it makes, and then they can come out as a blob, like that, rather than one at a time. So, let's have a look at what Smee sees in his base at the moment. So he knows I'm attacking this. I'm also disappeared off with another bunch of knights who've reappeared here. Why am I hitting a house, you say? Because I'm not confident enough to take on that town centre. And houses are a sort of resource, like a soft pop cap resource. I mean, he's on 33 out of 60, so he's not close. But killing them is something I can easily achieve. Costs wood and time and villagers to rebuild. But then, like, they're storming around his base, and then I go off here to kill the mill, but that's kind of important, and I realise, well, if he's not going to stop me, I reckon I've got enough knights to take down this town centre. Still not got that second attack upgrade. Getting a second armour upgrade, though. So he's just got to kind of sit there and let that happen. And I leave it, because I think he's got nothing, which is bad, because I haven't seen those spearmen. And I was going to pull off because I thought I was losing a lot of knights. But I'm doing really well against this town centre. Unfortunately, however, spearmen are uniquely well equipped to deal with knights. And I noticed that far too late to save any of my knights. So I beat this town centre up quite a lot. But that would only have been a nuisance at this stage because he's got a second one over here. At the time, I thought, hey, I'm going to do really well. So what I do is I send those knights off elsewhere. He doesn't know about any of this. Oh wait, what are these extra oh, they were houses. So yeah, I leave my knights off. But they've been right-clicked, so the spearmen follow and kill them. But they do take away from any revealing of my position over here. So what did I do there? I killed some peasants, killed a couple of valuable resource places that'll take some time to rebuild, killed a house, very minor, threatened his TC quite a lot. Does he repair it? Would I repair it in this situation? Oh, he has repaired it. I probably would have left it burning. Like, if someone's going to kill a TC, they're going to kill it, you know? You never send in just enough to almost kill a wounded TC. You send in enough to snipe the TC entirely. So, I'll probably leave my buildings burning. But, yeah, he's not really got any offensive plans. He's got this castle. Snuck that up. And it's not in a bad location. He knows where my defensive line is. This is a pretty short distance, so if I wanted to rush him in a classical sense, he could very easily defend against that there. For my part, like, I have nothing that can threaten a castle. And I'm only on 13 military at this point, most of them being those.
What's that? So
8 of the 13 being there, and then we've got like 5 knights up here. So I'm not in a great place to defend my base if he does want to rush at me, and all I've got is like a couple of palisade walls, really, because like the houses get tougher over time, so really good just to target those palisade walls and move on. I build another monk, and then I kid you not, I lose track of him. Oh no, oh that's what happened. I build another one later to go and fetch a relic, and I lose track of him because I set the rally point onto this relic so I can pick it up. Relic's super important. He's not even built a monastery over here. So this bunch of people come up here. He's seen this from the town centre, I think. Yeah, he's seen them from the town centre, so he knows they're there, and he comes to just take them out. If I'd been aware, yeah, I'd just tell them to attack the crossbows, because I'm not going to take those spearmen in a fight. So I try to get some kills on the crossbows, sets him back. I lose all the knights, and that is a shame. And that's not great. So he's down lots of crossbows though, so that's not bad. It's still a bad fight for me. Like a good fight for him. Well done taking it. And I don't know what's happening. Nor does he, but he knows there is stuff coming from over here, so he comes to check it out. But I've built a forward castle! Not like a super forward castle. We'll ignore my 6 board villagers. And it's already producing Mamluks. Like I said, I love them. That castle on the hill has a really nice range to just protect all of these buildings. And spearmen are not very well equipped, especially without upgrades, to deal with buildings themselves or defensive fire. So they leave. And he's lost his archers as well, which could have threatened the building from lower down. More peasants going forward. What is this? What is this? Second relic for me, very nice. Get attacked by an alligator. I think I tell my woman to move on with it. Like, no, I don't. I tell them to deal with it, which is probably sensible. So he knows about this forward castle position, and I want that, and I hope that's stressing him out, because if I've got a base up here with 2 stables, like that's a nice outpost. I've still got these 5 villagers. What are they doing? Oh, there. Some of them are in there. We'll move on with that later. It's just him now. Good. Well done past me. His base is still looking pretty underdeveloped. Like, he's got that castle, but he's not got a university. He's not got a monastery. Because against knights, monks are a good counter tactic. Oh yeah. So what? Can he see that? Can he see that? No. He might have been able to see it, and so he sent these archers to try to deal with it, which is not actually how you deal with a castle being built. My peasants bravely continue building it. I don't know he's got that castle here still though, and then they like get gunned down, like the uncared for peasants that they are. But then I leave the castle there because they all do 1 damage a shot. So if he wants, like, it gives me sight of some of its military units, and I can just hit delete later on to regain some of the stone. Oh no, I just hit it then because I can't be bothered. But I have tons of stone anyway, so that's not a big deal. I've got another town centre down here. 4th town centre. It's pretty forward. What's the villager count like? 58 to 36, that's convincing military villager lead. Military, there's only 9 difference between us now. I'm dropping, because I'm producing again. You can see my resources have shot right up. Whereas his resources are still, functional. He can build things, but it's not going to support continued production. He's got a lot of crossbowmen there. But you can see from the score. No, that's the wrong one. There we go. You can see from the score that I am fairly far ahead. I didn't feel that far ahead because every time I was attacking him, he had, this Smee guy had something to respond with. So I didn't feel like I was massively in the lead at any point, even though a 1500 score difference does at this level. I am 33% above his score. Using his score as the baseline, 25%. He is 25% behind me. I'm 33% ahead of him. And but he's building these archers. He builds the military units. He did beat me, so I beat him to the feudal age, but he then fast castled and leapfrogged me by a significant margin. But I'm now researching imperial, and he's not even close. My resources are still stellar. He has to rebuild those villages. So, yeah, we'll keep it on him for now. So my resources are pretty good. My economy is great at this point. I'm building a defensive castle because I'm done with getting that side raided. Over here I've got a little gate to let my preacher out. This looks a bit shit. But it's fine. My economy's growing. Could do with some more farms. Those are just sheep. He does have quite a lot of crossbowmen there. Killed that preacher again because I'm not very good at supporting my holy men. So he's built a bunch of pikemen. He doesn't have many resources, remember, so he's spending gold on crossbows. He's building these trash. He now knows I've hit imperial. That is a warning. He needs to do something because he's not even researching imperial, and we can see this is his resources, remember. He's not even in a good place to research imperial. So I've rebuilt this wall. My skirmisher there going outside. I'm so ashamed of this wall. And then, so I'm building spearmen now because they're trash. Like I said, when you build a gold unit, you want to build a trash unit to go with it. And in there, you can see it's garrisoned. If we have a look at it from my point of view, I'm building Mamluks. So they're my gold unit, and they're a very good gold unit. They're fast, they're responsive, they're powerful. So yeah, these crossbowmen are just kind of exploring about. He leaves them there on stand ground stance, I reckon, and accidentally finds this castle I'm building just to cover my back. And it was in the nick of time. You can see these peasants get pulled in for emergency construction rota. These spearmen get wiped out. I tried to put them back in the barracks, but you can't do that because they're not a garrisonable building. So it's only when you construct them can they go back in. So they run off to that castle. And then my Mamluks run back down the hill. And hopefully what we're about to hear is a slaughter of crossbowmen. I hate losing Mamluks. They're expensive. They take time to train. But they are very good. I forget about that crossbowman. Lol. These crossbowmen took a beating from the castle and had to pull out. So that was a shame for him because that was quite a lot of crossbowmen. And if he'd put them together, well, he probably could have nuked down that palisade wall fairly quick. And then got into my base this way and raided my gold from a fairly safe position here because there's still no tower. I have these archery ranges that I could build something with. I've got that barracks, but my base is not where my production capability is. So again, I'm just kind of keeping my units safe in their respective buildings as they're constructed. Still need the spearman line. I found a hole in my line here, so nope. Oh, I think I built a monastery up here just to snatch that relic. What's he got? He's still got peasants. Sorry, villagers working this. There's a lot of villagers there, 13, all in one place. Second wood line would be nice. He knows I've got ranged cavalry, so this is all looking quite juicy. Oh, spearman. Bloody spearman. Ah, another town centre. He's found this gold. Probably led there by my fleeing units. Not wise me. No one's seen this relic yet. He gets housed. See, killing that house earlier meant that he got housed. That's what well, he's not been housed yet. But it brought him closer to it, and then he built a whole pile of extra ones there. So this is just one of those times when you're building up. I'm keeping my hand fairly close to my chest by keeping stuff in my buildings. There's like some spears there, but they're mainly there as a cloud. There's 15 Mamluks there with 5 spears. We just heard a trebuchet finish construction. That's right, folks, because Mamluks and spearmen do not kill buildings. I have learned, especially if they're castles. Mamluks are not good against castles. They've got a high amount of damage, but they are elite, so they've got quite a lot of damage and not very much pierce armor. And again, not very much pierce armor. I don't know that castle's there at this point, so I kind of nose out a little bit and make a mistake, and I have to pull these guys back. I lose a Mamluk, valuable, but I kill those spearmen for the loss of 1 Mamluk, which is pretty optimal, really. And then he moves these archers round, and I can't see that for obvious reasons. So, got my 2 trebuchets. Now, I think to kill a castle in 1 hit, you need 8, which means 2 trebuchets are going to do it in 4 hits. They fire once every 9 seconds. So, to do it 4 times, I'm going to need... Is it 4 or is it 11? I think it's 11. I'm going to need almost a minute to take down that castle. That's not great, but it's not terrible either. He's still only building crossbows. Like, against the Mamluks, crossbows are okay, but only if you've got trash to go in front of them. Like, another barracks would be good. He's got 20 dudes on wood and he's still only got 100. It's because he's churning out these crossbows. He's building more villagers. What's he on? 59 to 61. He's caught up on villager count. He's there on military as well. The numbers say that he's in a good place. But I have trebuchets. 2 of my military units are trebuchets, and they are killer. So I can't see them coming in. But I've got my units out of my castle ready. Now I can see them. The trebuchets have a fantastic line of sight. Take down that castle, no problems. Archer's not good against trebuchets or siege in general. And then he's focus firing my Mamluks, which isn't great. I've just attacked, moved through. Spear's doing their job now, taking some of the aggro, because archers shoot at the nearest unit. Don't know where these peasants have come from or why, but they're there. 3rd trebuchet out. There's still quite a lot of archers here. But, yeah. All of my... Oh no, my Mamluks are out of range. What a terrible piece of micro that was. I hoped that I was going to show off some micro this game, and I did not. All my spearmen died, but they're easily replaceable. I've got tons of resources, except wood. We'll ignore that fact. And gold. We'll ignore that too. I've just queued a bunch more things then. Yep, spearmen and Mamluks. There you go. 15 spearmen, 10 Mamluks. So he brings in, like, the dredge of his force. This is a bit desperate, and he doesn't need to do it. He doesn't need to do it, especially under the shadow of the castle. If they'd stayed back, they could have been much better. Much better used. The archers especially, because when... I know that I said they're not great against trebuchets, but what they could do is attack the trebuchets while the trebuchets are attacking, like, a town centre. And then the Mamluks can't get close enough without risking getting hit by the town centre. More archers! More of them! They're not working, but he's building tons. I ambushed that army before he's ready for it. Like, I've moved in, he's not prepared for that. And then he gives up. Because the trebuchets are in his base, he's got nothing to counter these guys. Still only the 1 barracks. So he just GG's it there. So yeah, that was a victory, and I felt good about it. Like, because he was counter-attacking, he was nettling me. I felt like my gambits were at risk. So this one especially, when he found it the first time, I remember pooping my pants slightly and being like, no, there's going to be a siege ram coming this way, and if it's got archer support, my Mamluks can't do anything about it. No siege workshop. And I haven't been scouting his base. So, I can't put the fog of war on anymore. Oh well. But yeah, no siege workshop. I actually have a siege workshop. That's saying something for me, because as I mentioned in previous videos, not a great siege player. They were built for rams, because the initial idea was to shove in a bunch of spearmen and just make the rams move faster, and then turf them out when they were near a building. But I didn't get to that stage. Realistically, like, this is 26 spearmen and 21 Mamluks. For me, that doesn't feel like a large number of things, especially with his production capability. So, like, he's building a lot of these crossbows. If he leaves them in the building and they all come out together, and he was doing it earlier, so he knows how, there's still 10 spearmen in there as well. Like, these crossbows can handle these guys. The spearmen could distract my Mamluks long enough for the crossbows to work, to, you know, because he's got this town centre, so that one can go down. He can rebuild it. He's got the resources. He's got the peasants. Sorry, the villagers. He's got 58 villagers. He's got this over here. Like, he doesn't have to give up at this stage. It's tough, certainly, but these can get taken out by peasants. As I said,
ready. Crossbows
stay in the building. Wait till you've got maybe 15 of them. Bring out the spears. Even if these 10 spears are just soaking up fire here. Look at these resources. There's loads. You could even build skirmishers instead of archers if you want. It doesn't have to. Look at that. What it came down to, I think, is his production was this for the entire game, and he never built additional ones. Like another barracks here. No cavalry all game from him, which is a shame because light cav are not great against these guys, but they can get in their face, which is important. And it distracts them because they, like archers, target the closest unit. So yeah, he's not really built that production out, or the versatility of production that would allow him to have counters. Really nice counter game early on. Played very strong in that and stopped me doing anything that efficient. Like I managed to snipe one farm, and it's something I do like doing because it does set people back if they've started building farms. I mean, if we look at my base, I've got a castle, I guess that counts as production, but it's still that barracks and those two archery rangers, so arguably my production doesn't increase very well. I do have a monastery, which gives me supplements my gold income. I do have that monastery now. Only a little bit, but it's nice to have when you can't trade. And I've got 3 town centres here, I've got a 4th up there, I've got this production over here, so I've got quite versatile production. It's very offensive and can't defend my base. Maybe spearmen from these barracks could help in a pinch. This castle could help. Like just set a rally point down here somewhere. But yeah, my base doesn't look well, I think it actually looks quite strong with the towers up and the town centre space. This is a bit vulnerable. But hey, it doesn't have to be perfect, does it? If he attacked it enough, I probably would have responded by building a tower. The towers themselves aren't very good. Like, they're not bad, but they've got 1,000 hit points. They go down. I don't have murder holes. I might have murder holes. I don't remember getting murder holes. So you can take towers. They anti-raid, but they don't stop concerted attacks. The castle would be a bigger deal, but he's already hit me from this side. He knows it's weak. There's still that hole in the tree line there that no one knows about, and no one took advantage of, so it didn't matter, right? Yeah, all in all, though, I think a very even to and fro-y game. I just maintained my level of pressure throughout that kept them in that defensive mindset, and a couple of bad fights picked up the hill there. I did purposely build my castle up the hill as well to give it range and damage advantage, so you need siege to go into that. No longbows from Britain, and longbows would be great against the Mamluks because they've got such a short range. Like, the longbows have quadruple their range with max upgrades, but even just having 3 times the range, treble the range, they're going to be good. So I think what happened here was he just lost the will to continue fighting. This looks scary, but garrison your villagers. Send these spearmen up here once I've started threatening the town centre to take out the trebuchets. Lose the spearmen to the Mamluks, but kill my spearmen with your crossbows. Mug these with peasants. Shoot these with more crossbows. Like, in an open fight, I think the crossbows could be better. With this clump of trees here, that was quite killer because it cut off line of sight, so I could get my Mamluks just that little bit closer before they started getting shot. So yeah, you didn't have to give up, but at the same time, if you're not having fun, if you don't think you can win, we've all been there. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you, Smee31, for the game. I'm now at 1043 rating, my ELO, which is about average for me in most games. We'll see how it goes. I hope you enjoyed watching the replay. My name is Big Bad Chad. Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time of day you're viewing this, and I hope you tune in next time. Thank you very much.